Come in.
Mr. Godwin?
Hi, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Kevin Killips with NetSuite. I'm the
Kevin.
regional manager here for the Southeast. How are you this afternoon?
Very good, very good. Nice to meet you,
Glad
Kevin.
to say. Do you mind if I have a seat right here?
Okay, have a seat.
I appreciate
Nope,
that.
that's
And I
fine.
don't mean to overtake your desk, but I'd love to set some of my materials down if that's
I've
all
got
right.
a big desk. Make yourself comfortable and just spread out however you need.
Fantastic. Well, before I forget, I want to go ahead and give you a copy of my business card. It has all my contact information in
Okay.
case any questions come up as we move through the process and after the process is over today. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Shoot me
Okay.
an email. Does that sound all right?
Great, Kevin. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Godwin, I don't know if I mentioned it on the phone, but the way I came about your information is I was actually at Six Flags over Georgia recently, and I decided that my kids talked me into running the ride for the dynamic drop, and I enjoyed it so much I found out a little bit more about the manufacturer and found out that you were responsible for that.
You must really like the dynamic drop.
Yeah, absolutely. It was we had a really great time, so I really appreciated the ride and thought I'd give you a call to see if there was something that I might be able to help you out with
Well,
today.
that's why you're here. We're glad that you're here today.
All right, great. And I know your time is valuable, Mr. Godwin, and that being said, I'd like to take up as little amount of that as possible.
Okay.
So, other than complimenting you on your actual rides and how much I've enjoyed them, the reason I'm here today is to talk to you a little bit about NetSuite and, mention a lot of the advantages that I think will be able to benefit your company in the same way that NetSuite has been able to for many of my existing clients.
Okay.
So, from there, in order to do that, I'd love to ask you some questions to get to know a little bit more about your company as well as, your unique business process. And if things are still going from there, I'd like to jump in and, show you how NetSuite can maybe overcome some of the challenges you might be facing as well as exceed your expectations. And, from there, if it makes sense and it's both meaningful and doable, because, it's important for it to be both,
Absolutely.
then we can move on from there. How does that sound?
Very good. Very good.
Awesome.
Kevin.
Well, that being said, for a meeting such as this, is there anyone else that you feel should be sitting in today when it's concerning your sales force or the customer relationship management process?
Well, there's definitely some influential people, but right now, let's just start with the two of us.
Okay.
And in my role, I can pretty much approve these types of decisions if we move forward and choose to do that. And there may be some other people that I feel that needs to be involved a little later on.
Okay, excellent. And like I said, if you come up with any questions or you feel that I need to meet with them, please feel free to give you extra copies of my business card or pass that information back along to me, and I'd be happy to, show them whatever I need to.
Okay,
So we'll
very
get to
good.
that in a little bit.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
First of all, I'd really like to congratulate you. I know that your company's recently celebrating your 102nd anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to congratulate you. I know you've been extremely successful in this market, and so it takes a lot to be involved for that long.
It takes for anybody to be around for over 100 years. There's a lot of accomplishment in there, and we're very proud of that.
Right, I'm glad to hear that. And I noticed in my initial research that you're based right here in Orlando, Florida, and that you sell rides that are both new and old to a worldwide clientele. And is that information still accurate?
Absolutely. We sell a good bit. It's about 50% of our used and 50% new that we actually manufacture. We have another operation where we take in used equipment, refurbish it, bring it back up to spec from a quality standpoint, and then do resell that. So.
Okay, and you said, I know you do 50-50 on the production side. Is you find it's about that number as far as actually selling them?
Well, from a gross margin standpoint, we actually do better on the units that we manufacture.
Okay.
There's a little longer sales process there, but we make better margin on that.
Right, I can imagine so. Well, I took the initiative and, did a little bit of research about how I thought your company might be set up and, made it just an easy little chart here. And I understand that, you're the regional sales managers, that's right. And then, you report to, from what I understand, to regional managers and then have separate districts.
I do. I have 2 here.
Okay.
I have 6 here, and I have 30 sales reps.
30 reps in each district?
No, total.
Oh, total? So
Yeah.
50, is it
about,
evenly
yeah,
distributed?
because of the geographical area they cover, it's 5 in some, 6 in others. We have one that has 4. So
Okay.
it's
And then,
around 4 to 6 reps per district, with the district manager reporting to 2 sales managers.
and is this accurate that the sales reps are reporting to the district managers who then pass that up the food chain a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And then to my understanding, the sales reps are contacting, amusement parks on their own to sell both those old and new rides.
Yes,
So-
it's amusement parks as well as other like gaming centers and
Carnivals
county
and
fairs and
fairs.
carnivals.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
all that.
Are there typically some that you find that you try to target more, or do your sales force specialize in any of those areas?
if you think about it logically, the bigger, like Six Flags, the
Right.
larger amusement parks are going to, oh, excuse me.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Can I
That's
tell
fine.
you-
Oh, excuse me just a second. Kevin, can you give me just a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. Take your time.
Thank you. Kevin, I apologize about
Oh, that's
that.
absolutely no
I
problem.
had a human resources emergency I had to take care of. In fact, we were talking about some things I thought may be interesting, and we have our Vice President of Marketing and Vice President of Sales here, so
Okay.
I thought, well, let me have them come in here,
It's Kevin
and we can
Killips.
visit with you a little bit.
Lindsay,
This is
very nice to
Lindsay
meet
and
you.
Eric.
Eric, nice to meet you as
And
well.
we have talked about this, and I thought, well, they're here, let's
Yeah,
have them in the
absolutely.
conversation. The drawback is that we're only going to have about 10 more minutes
Okay.
before we need to step out to take care of this other emergency.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we've got about 10 minutes to kind of get right to it.
So business comes first, obviously, but
Absolutely.
appreciate y'all taking the time to come meet me. Was he able to tell you at all about anything about what NetSuite is or why I'm here today?
No, not at all.
Nope.
Not at all today. All right, well, we'll address that. Right now, I'm just representing NetSuite, which is customer relationship management software that can kind of as a one-stop shop to help you integrate your entire business. And from there, in order to determine whether or not that's going to work for your company, I'm asking Mr. Godwin several questions about your business and your unique business model to kind of gauge to make sure, to see if it will work out and be doable and meaningful. So that's
Okay.
about where we are right now. Does that get you up to speed all right? All right, glad to hear it. And then, we talked about the sales process a little bit,
Right.
Mr. Godwin, and then, we started talking about the sales reps and, how are they currently managing their contacts?
That's a challenge for us. All of that is managed currently through paper-based reporting. It's a lot of it's daytimer. This is a very old school type sales organization. A lot of these people, the men and women, have been in this business for a long time, and they
None
upload-
the entire 102 years, though, right?
No, thankfully not
Okay.
not that far back, but a number of them have a good bit of experience and tenure with the company.
Right.
They currently take a lot of their notes and activities in the field and they upload that into a Word document.
Okay.
And that Word document then is uploaded to the district managers for like weekly reporting.
Mhm.
So the reps have daily call logs, weekly call reports to their district manager, and then the district managers uplift the reporting tools into the regional sales managers twice a month.
Okay.
And then I usually get it monthly.
All right,
But it's
awesome.
very laborious and it's definitely an area for improvement.
So
We're
would
losing
you-
a lot of productivity because
Would you
of
say that's your number one concern right now is getting that productivity back? And
I would think so. Of the challenges that we're facing, that's probably
Mhm.
the most important thing that we could deal with. And the other thing might be the fact that because of our paper-based systems and the sticky notes, that we lose critical information And we've had examples where we lost business because something was on a sticky note and it didn't get to where it needed to go, and the person forgot, and we lost the sale.
Right, and so I know you mentioned you lost that sale. Have you found that's been, over the long term, has that really negatively impacted your company?
Absolutely. These sales are large.
So you want to get that taken care of rather quickly.
You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of loss in one of these, lost opportunities. So.
Okay, well, hopefully I can take care of that for you, that, address that need. That way there's not that disconnect between the sales reps, district managers, and also, would it sound okay to you would you be interested in a product that could not only, give you that information, make sure there's no lost orders, but also give that to you right away? Because I can imagine if you're selling to a worldwide clientele, you want to make sure that your sales reps are maximizing their time if they're going to a theme park in Japan, and you probably want to know for inventory purposes that information right off the bat. So if I could tell you about a product that could do that, would that be something that's interested?
That's why we're here. Absolutely.
All right, great. And then, I know your time is valuable and I don't want to shortchange you. So, if in fact we don't get through, everything we need to cover today, because, I'd really like to invest some time in you and this relationship and make sure that, I'm truly fulfilling all your needs. But if you'd like, I can ask you a few more questions, kind of dig a little bit deeper, or if you're really interested in how I can show you how, we can get rid of that disconnect and that real-time info, I'd be glad to jump right into that right now.
Really, whatever you think the best utilization of your time is, what we should do.
Okay, well, why don't we, is it okay, would you have a time next week that we might be able to get together again for a second call?
We could possibly do that. I know we've got this personnel issue that we're dealing with
right
now. It's going to be a stretch for us for a while, and but we could look at something a little later to do that.
Okay, absolutely. So I'll probably give your secretary a call and see if we can't set up something maybe sometime on Monday morning. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
All right, well, moving right along, I'm actually, you mentioned that that's your number one pressing issue. And, I'll try to, go ahead and alleviate that concern for you right now. And because I'm really excited, because based on that, like I said, I think I can give you a product that can not only cover that need for you, but exceed your expectations with, many other capabilities. So if you don't mind, I'd like to take a couple minutes and show you why.
Real quick, let's do
All
it.
right, do you mind if I use the computer
No,
right here?
absolutely. Just it's your display.
All right. Well, this is the NetSuite main page where it's secure access, so you are able to log in. So what I'll do is I'll enter my unique login right now. And then what we're going to do from there is set a role for the company.
Okay.
So NetSuite is uniquely customizable. Like I said, it's not a cookie cutter company to where it gives you what you need and only what you need, if that's what you're interested in, concerned about the ease of use. But it can also give you a lot of amazing data as well to help you make real-time business decisions. So it's completely up to you. So we'll click over here on the sales executive. And if you don't mind, if you can see over here and allow me to slide my chair over, I'll let you navigate. And what this is basically going to do is bring up a real-time dashboard. So like I said, as soon as one of your sales reps, say he's out in Japan, he's obviously, especially if he's using sticky notes, it's going to take him a long time to get back, especially there's a big probability of losing that information. So with NetSuite, since it's a web-based software program, you can access it from anywhere, which I think is extremely important. That way he can upload that information and immediately give you any bit of data that you need. So right here, there's a key performance indicator on what your top 5 items that you're selling based on quantity are right now. And so that's important for your forecasting in the future to know, okay, if this product is selling right now, not to mention that it's in Japan, you need to get that production up right away, especially if it's a new ride, but for old rides as well, to be able to have that information at your fingertips right away. So does that kind of answer your question and concern on having that?
What do you think? You're more involved in this than I am.
I think the bigger concern I've got is our sales reps don't even have laptops.
No laptops.
Not
okay.
at all.
Is that something that you're considering investing in the future, or you're comfortable with your business model right now?
The business model is what it is. I mean, it's just another added expense if we try to do it, and we really haven't talked about it at this point.
And we have deployed PCs to their homes. These are all people that work out of their homes. They're a virtual environment, and they have that ability to do emails and things. We don't want them doing email. That's the part of the emphasis for not having that is to get them out in the field. We did deploy cell phones a few years ago. We had people resistant to cell phones, so that kind of gives you an idea of our culture and how they just don't like a lot of technology. So that may be a transition, something we have to kind of think of. But I guess as you're explaining this, help me understand how you maybe overcome that with other clients who maybe didn't have laptop technology in the field, and how they're able to utilize your solution.
Absolutely, I can understand your concern, but just so I'm clear, you don't currently have laptops, but they do have access to computers at their homes right now to send that information to you. But you're a little bit concerned that they're a little bit old-fashioned and might be resistant to that change. Is that
we have
correct?
an issue with not getting the information today. So I guess
Okay.
in the reporting, even though it's a lot more manual and they key it into Word and uplifted email, we don't get the reports today. So why would I think that I'm going to get the report if I deploy a new tool? Why will I get better results? I guess that's my question.
If you're using, you know,
This
InTime-
versus the email and the manual process. If they're not doing the manuals, why will they suddenly adapt to this?
Right, and basically what I'll give you, you know, to try to alleviate that concern, first of all, is you asked if there were any other clients that had experiencing that. And from this chart right here, I've listed, I'm sorry about that, several of the clients that we deal with on a basis, big companies as well as small
Okay.
manufacturing firms. In
Interesting.
addition, and this is an example from ViewSonic who had that same problem. They were really concerned about how easy it would be to use because they didn't feel like integrating that. They were old-fashioned, using kind of a pen and paper. But what they found is that it significantly gave them, like you said, that what can it do differently. You know, it's going to give you key performance indicators that's linked to your entire organization. So from there's none of that lost time or missed information all the way, not only from the sales rep up the chain to you, but also from you to the people who work in the back office in your inventory, as well as say your marketing folks who may want to, you know, target a new ride coming up. And we have actually, you know, for say that you're you're about to refurbish an old, you know, ride for amusement park, you want to inform people about that. You can select the clients from the list and send out a unique marketing, you know, tool to them. So
Okay.
would you agree that that might, you know, help increase not only the salespeople's productivity, but also, you know, your abilities to make real-time business decisions and, you know, increase your capabilities as well?
Yeah, I would think so. If we could show a particular ride that's coming back for, you know, refurbishment, and we knew that was going to be ready for redistribution deployment, you know, say 6 weeks from now,
Right.
then we could blast that out. So I see some value in that.
Okay, excellent. Are we still doing okay on time right now?
I don't know. We've got about probably a minute left.
A minute left? All right. Well, hopefully that alleviated that big concern for you. And what I'd like to do is I'll leave you with several, you know, bits of information about, you know, NetSuite, the company, some of these customer referrals, examples of some of the, you know, capabilities that our company has. And then, like I said, I'll give you a call on Monday, and hopefully we can get back together and I actually take you through a little bit more detail of information that you'd be interested in seeing for, like I said, those real-time reports to be able to give you those capabilities. Does that sound okay with y'all? All right, so I'll leave you with this packet as well as just a copy of our purchase agreement, because hopefully, you know, if things continue to go well and I can continue to, you know, alleviate your concerns and prove that this would be very beneficial for your company, then hopefully we can move on from there. But just so you have a general idea of what we're looking at in the future. Is that all right with y'all?
Yeah.